Do you know why most students struggle? It's not because they lack intelligence. It's because they never tap into their true potential. Every single one of you has a fire inside, but if you don't fuel it, it dies out. Studying is not about boring pages or endless hours. It's about building the life you deserve. Think about it. Every hour you study is an investment, not in books, but in your future. When you give your 100% today, you create opportunities tomorrow. But when you waste time, you're not just losing hours. You're losing possibilities. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who prepare. Right now, you can choose to be average, or you can choose to be unstoppable. And unstoppable students don't wait for motivation. They create it. They set clear goals, build discipline, and push through every challenge. So I ask you, are you ready to commit? Are you ready to push beyond your limits? Because your study table is not just a desk, it's the launch pad to your dreams. Light the fire, take massive action, and prove to yourself that nothing is impossible when your focus is unshakable. There's a spark in you that's waiting to be unleashed, and that spark is your hunger. Hunger to grow, hunger to achieve, hunger to break past the limits you thought defined you. Studying is not about textbooks and exams, it's about lighting that spark into a roaring flame that can't be ignored. Every single day, you have a choice to feed that fire or to let it burn out. When you choose distraction over focus, your fire dims. But when you choose to sit down, open your notes, and commit, you throw wood onto the flames of your destiny. Think about what happens to people who never fuel their fire. They wander, they drift. They let life happen to them instead of creating it. You are not here to drift. You are here to dominate, and domination requires energy. Energy born from a burning fire inside. Studying isn't boring, it's passion in motion. Every word you highlight, every equation you solve, every page you turn, that's fuel. It's not just fuel for passing tests, it's fuel for the life you're building. But here's the truth, fire doesn't stay lit by itself. It requires constant attention. That's why daily rituals matter. That's why routines matter. Because when you commit to showing up, you add oxygen to your fire and it blazes brighter. Imagine yourself walking into an exam room or an interview, not with fear, but with a blazing fire of certainty inside you. That certainty comes from the hours you invested, the fire you fueled, the commitment you honored. The problem is, most people wait for motivation to come to them like it's a guest knocking at the door. Motivation doesn't knock, it shows up when you feed your fire with action. Action creates momentum, and momentum builds an unstoppable flame. What do you think happens when you study with full energy, even for one focused hour? That 1 hour compounds. It multiplies into skill, into knowledge, into confidence. It's like throwing gasoline on your fire instead of a single match. And the amazing part, the more you fuel it, the more it gives back. Fire doesn't just burn brighter when you feed it, it spreads into every part of your life. Your confidence, your self-respect, your belief in your own power. When you study with passion, you're not just preparing for a test. You're training yourself to live with intensity, to wake up every day with purpose, to never settle for lukewarm when you were built for blazing hot. If you want results, you can't play small. Small effort equals small fire. Small fire equals small life. The size of your commitment decides the size of your fire, and the size of your fire decides the size of your future. So feed it, every day feed it. Don't wait for someone else to hand you a spark. Don't wait for life to give you the match. You are the match, you are the fire starter, and the more you own that truth, the brighter you burn. Fire is passion, fire is focus, fire is commitment, fire is energy. Without it, life feels dull, heavy, and meaningless. But with it, every challenge becomes fuel. Every setback becomes kindling. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to burn hotter. Fuel your fire, because nothing great was ever built without it. Fuel your fire, because this is your chance to light up the world with your brilliance. Fuel your fire, because when you burn with intensity, the universe has no choice but to pay attention. Your time is not free, it's the most expensive currency you will ever spend, and how you invest it determines whether you end up wealthy with opportunities or bankrupt with regrets. Studying isn't a cost, it isn't a sacrifice, it's the ultimate investment. When you sit with your books, you're planting seeds. At first, those seeds don't look like much. You might not see results immediately, but with consistent effort, those seeds grow roots, and soon they grow fruits that feed you for a lifetime. The tragedy is that most students see studying as punishment, not as investment. They look at the hours spent on learning as wasted instead of multiplied. But the truth, every hour invested in your growth will pay back tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. Think about it. You invest money in a bank and maybe you earn a small return. But when you invest effort in your education, your return isn't just financial. It's freedom, it's choices, it's opportunities no one can take away. Every page you read today is a brick in the foundation of your future. Every note you write is a step toward your vision. And every test you pass is proof that your investment is already paying off. But here's the catch. Investments require consistency. You can't plant a seed one day and walk away expecting a tree tomorrow. You nurture it, you water it, you show up every day. That's how results grow. And just like in money, some people spend their time like junk food, quick pleasures, social media, distractions. But winners invest their time where it compounds, where it multiplies, where it builds the life they dream of. When you embrace the investment mindset, studying becomes exciting. It's no longer about suffering through chapters. It's about knowing that every word is building your wealth of knowledge, your empire of success. The real question is, are you spending your time or are you investing it? Because spenders live for the moment, but investors build for the future, and the future always belongs to investors. The pain of study today is the down payment for the joy of freedom tomorrow. That's how life works. You sacrifice temporary comfort for permanent success. That's not loss, that's leverage. So don't ever say, I have to study. Say, I get to invest. Because millions would kill for the chance you have right now. The chance to learn, to grow, to shape your future through study. You may not feel the payoff immediately, but trust me, there will come a moment when doors open, when opportunities appear, when people look at you differently. And that's when you'll realize your investment was worth it. Studying is not a chore, it's your stock market. The more you invest, the richer you become in skill, in confidence, in power. It's the one market where you control the outcome, where your effort is the currency, and your success is the profit. Adopt the investment mindset, and you'll never see studying the same way again. Because this isn't about books. It's about building an empire of possibility that no one can ever take away from you. Your life changes the moment you decide who you are. Not who your parents said you are, not what your teachers labeled you as, not the version of yourself that settled for average, but the identity you choose to step into. Every action you take when you study is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. When you procrastinate, you're voting for average. When you commit, you're voting for excellence, and your future self is built on those votes, one choice at a time. Ask yourself right now, who am I? Am I the kind of person who quits when it's hard, or am I the kind of person who fights for my dream until it's real? Because identity isn't about what you say, it's about what you consistently do. If you tell yourself, I'm not smart, your brain shuts down. But when you say, I'm a relentless learner, you give your brain permission to expand, to grow, to adapt. Identity is power, and you have the power to claim it today. Look around you. Most students settle. They live as if being average is normal, but you're not average. You wouldn't even be here if you were average. Deep down, you know you were built for more. And the only thing standing between you and that greater version of yourself is the identity you decide to embrace. Your identity drives your standards, and your standards drive your results. If your standard is, I'll just pass, then your identity is survival. But if your standard is, I will master this, then your identity becomes unstoppable. And unstoppable students don't stop until they win. Do you realize how powerful it is to shift your identity? One decision can change your destiny. Say to yourself, I am the kind of person who studies with focus. I am the kind of person who gives my best. I am the kind of person who does whatever it takes. Repeat it until your actions align with that belief. Because here's the truth, identity is not about who you've been. It's about who you're becoming. Stop letting your past define you. Stop letting your failures chain you down. Your identity is created by the choices you make today, not by the mistakes you made yesterday. When you sit down to study, don't just think, I'm doing homework. No, think, I am becoming a disciplined, powerful, unstoppable force. Every page I read is proof of who I am. That's the choice of identity that separates champions from quitters. Identity creates momentum. Momentum creates consistency, and consistency creates results. That's the chain reaction. When you lock in your identity as a disciplined learner, suddenly the late nights, the long hours, the focus, it all becomes natural. Because you're not forcing it, you're living it. People will doubt you. People will question you. They may even laugh at you. But when you've chosen your identity, none of that matters. Their opinions don't define you. Your identity does, and when you stand firm in it, the world has no choice but to respect it. Think about the greatest achievers in history. They weren't born extraordinary. They weren't born special. They simply chose a different identity and refused to let go of it. They lived it, breathed it, fought for it until the world caught up with their belief. You are no different. You have that same power. You can rewrite the story right now. You can decide, I am not lazy. I am not distracted. I am not unfocused. I am a disciplined, powerful, limitless student of life. And from that moment, everything shifts. Because when you change your identity, you don't just change how you study. You change how you live. You change how you carry yourself. You change what you demand of yourself. And that change becomes the foundation of your future. Most people wait for motivation as if it's some miracle gift that drops from the sky. They say, I'll study when I feel motivated. That's why they stay stuck. Because waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow in your favor. You'll wait forever. Winners don't wait for motivation. They create it. They build it. They manufacture it with action. The moment you sit down, open your books, and commit, motivation awakens. Action is the spark that brings motivation to life. Think about it. Have you ever forced yourself to start studying when you didn't feel like it? And 5 minutes in, suddenly the momentum carried you. That's the secret. Motivation doesn't come first. Action does, and action births motivation. The biggest lie you've been told is that motivation is a feeling. No, motivation is a decision to take one small step even when your mind screams no. A decision to push through resistance and prove to yourself that you're in control. And the beauty is, once you create momentum, it grows. Just like a snowball rolling down a hill, the more you act, the bigger and stronger your motivation becomes. Soon, what felt impossible starts to feel unstoppable. Here's the difference. Average students ask, do I feel like it? Great students say, let's do it, and the feeling will follow. One group waits, the other creates, and creation always wins. So how do you create motivation on demand? You change your state. Stand tall, breathe deep, clap your hands, move your body. Energy is contagious, even with yourself. When your physiology changes, your mind shifts. Suddenly, you're ready to attack the page. Then, focus on small wins. Don't try to conquer 10 chapters in one go. Start with one page, celebrate that. Then another. Motivation grows when your brain sees progress. Small wins create big victories, and don't underestimate the power of vision. When you remind yourself why you're studying, you create fuel. Picture the life you're building. Picture the freedom, the success, the opportunities. That vision is gasoline for your motivation engine. But here's the catch. If you rely on motivation as your master, you'll fail. Motivation must be your servant. That means discipline must lead. When discipline shows up, motivation follows, not the other way around. Every time you choose action over excuses, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. And self-trust is the ultimate motivation. When you know you'll do what you said you'd do, you no longer need external hype. You are the hype. So stop waiting, stop wishing, stop hoping, start creating. Motivation is not magic, it's mechanics, and once you master the mechanics, you'll never again be at the mercy of feeling like it. Imagine what happens when you master this skill. No more wasted days. No more lost weeks, no more waiting for some spark. You become the spark. You create energy, you create momentum, you create drive on command. That's when studying transforms from a chore into a choice. From a burden into a weapon, from something you avoid into something you dominate, because you've realized you don't need to wait for motivation. You already have the power to create it anytime, anywhere. Your study desk is not just a table. It's not just a chair and a book. It's a launch pad, a runway for your dreams. Every time you sit down, you are fueling the rocket of your future. And one day, that rocket will lift you beyond limb you never thought possible. When you look at studying as boring, you miss the truth. This is not about memorizing formulas or writing essays. This is about preparing for takeoff. Every note you write is a wire in the engine. Every late night you commit is fuel in the tank. Every sacrifice you make is another booster attached to your rocket. Think of astronauts. Do they launch into space by chance? No, they prepare for years. Every detail, every calculation, every simulation. It all leads to one single moment of ignition. That's you right now. Your books are your training ground, and your study time is your countdown. When you treat studying as your launch pad, every distraction becomes irrelevant. You don't waste time scrolling or complaining because you know the clock is ticking. You're either preparing for liftoff or staying stuck on the ground, and here's the truth. Launch pads are not comfortable. They're full of noise, pressure, tension, but without them, rockets never fly. Your discomfort while studying is not punishment, it's the pressure that prepares you to soar. Every breakthrough in life comes from preparation. Those who launch into success are those who put in the hours, the focus, the discipline when nobody was watching. The study grind is lonely, but so is the view from the top. And that view, it's worth every second. The world won't hand you opportunities. You launch yourself into them. You don't wait for a perfect moment. You build it through relentless preparation. Your study time is the fuel that will separate you from everyone still waiting at the launch site. Look at your desk differently. That pen in your hand, it's a control lever. Those books in front of you, they're blueprints. That chair, it's your cockpit. You are the pilot, and this is mission control. You're not just studying. You're preparing to break gravity. And when the moment comes, when the exam, the interview, the opportunity arrives, you won't hesitate. You'll ignite with confidence because you'll know you've been preparing for this. The launch pad has done its job. The rocket is ready. But remember, rockets don't launch halfway. They either go all in or they don't move at all. Half effort equals no liftoff. That's why every second you commit, every bit of focus you give, it all matters. Because you're not here to stay grounded. You're here to fly. Think about how powerful it feels to walk into any challenge knowing you've already done the work. That's the energy of a rocket already fueled. That's the confidence of someone who has turned study into a launch pad instead of a prison. Your studies are not holding you back. They're propelling you forward. Every concept you learn is another thrust of power. Every mistake you correct is another adjustment to your flight path. Every test you pass is another stage of your rocket separating, carrying you higher. And the best part, once you launch, the view changes. The struggles that once felt heavy become tiny specks below you. The doubts, the fears, the distractions, they shrink, because when you rise, your perspective expands. And that expansion began with one choice, to treat your study as a launch pad. This is not about books. This is not about exams. This is about liftoff. This is about destiny. This is about taking yourself from the ground to the stars. And it all starts when you sit down, look at that desk, and realize this is where liftoff begins.